Shakur moved so well. He won every round, and he was just a step ahead with quickness and just with, just the plan himself. Great plan coming in, and he did well. Congratulations to him.
He won all the rounds? Is that what you're saying? He won all 12 rounds?
Well, maybe he lost one, but he won the majority of rounds.
At what time did you realize that this was just going to be Shakur taking over the whole fight?
After the fourth round.
After the fourth round?
Yeah.
Okay? Eddie, I want him. He's food. He's food. I got him. Okay?
The boxing world has been buzzing in response to the Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez showdown. They promised fireworks, and they absolutely delivered. What unfolded tonight was the kind of fight fans had marked on their calendars for months. A high-level chess match built on speed, timing, and sheer resolve, swinging back and forth like a pendulum that refused to settle. By the time the final bell sounded, the arena felt drained. The fighters were emptied, and the boxing world had already shifted from round-by-round narration to instant, emotional debate. From the opening seconds, it was clear this would never be a one-note affair. The early rounds carried that unmistakable tension only elite fighters create. There was probing and measuring, a cautious respect that turned the first few rounds into a tense negotiation. Sharp jabs met sharp counters, clean and precise, the kind of technical boxing that only looks simple because of how difficult it is to do correctly. At times, the rhythm felt almost classical, phrases exchanged, ideas tested, until a sudden, compact combination landed and sent a ripple through the crowd. Both corners arrived with clear strategies, and, just as importantly, the flexibility to adjust when those plans met resistance. One fighter relied on lateral movement, timing, and razor-sharp counters, scoring with surgical accuracy. The other advanced in waves, intent on closing distance, attacking the body, and turning brief openings into sustained exchanges. Those contrasting styles created a fascinating ebb and flow. There were rounds where the countering stylist looked untouchable, slipping shots, flipping defense into offense, and firing back with sharp bursts. And there were rounds where the pressure fighter's aggression disrupted everything, forcing messy exchanges and clinches that blurred the scoring picture and denied clean sight lines. That tension between calculated evasion and purposeful collision was the soul of the fight. The crowd felt every shift in momentum as if it were a physical force. Certain sequences felt destined for highlight reels and slow-motion analysis. In the middle rounds, a sudden flurry from the aggressor landed clean and pushed the other man back on his heels for the first time. The momentum swung, not just on the judges' cards, but in posture and confidence. Then came the answer, a late-round surge from the counterpuncher, crisp 1-2s, snapping the forward fighter back toward the ropes and forcing a reset, a reminder that precision and timing can punish just as much as raw power. Those moments went beyond physical damage. They were psychological markers. You could see posture change, corners leaning in, trainers shouting corrections and encouragement. That's the human theater of boxing. A 2- or 3-second exchange can reshape how both camps approach the next several rounds. That dynamic is what made the Shakur versus Teofimo fight so compelling. Each round brought new adjustments. When the pressure fighter found success closing the gap, the other varied his rhythm, doubled the jab, stepped off to the left, and chose sharp angles instead of reckless trades. When the counterpuncher enjoyed clean stretches, the aggressor responded with more uppercuts and body work, inside fighting designed to slow movement and reshape exchanges. These are the details that separate elite fighters from merely very good ones. Not always the flash, but the margins, a subtle shift of the lead foot, a fractional delay on a punch, a body shot chosen over a head shot in a key moment. The trainers earned their pay by reading the fight and delivering concise instructions that were executed under extreme fatigue. The crowd became its own storyline. It swelled during aggressive surges and dropped into near-reverent silence when clean counters sliced through a shifting defense. Late in the fight, the noise felt like pressure itself. Roars after big exchanges, spontaneous chants that push fighters to keep throwing when every muscle begs for rest. Ringside commentators bounced between breathless calls and technical breakdowns, while social media exploded in real time with clips, hot takes, and freeze frames highlighting foot placement or a subtle head movement. It's rare for a fight to satisfy both casual viewers and hardcore purists, but this one managed both. There were turning points scattered across rounds rather than defined by a single moment. A mid-fight flurry that rewarded aggression. A later counter sequence that reminded judges how much clean, visible punches matter. The final rounds were especially revealing. Both Shakur and Teofimo showed elite conditioning, not just stamina, but the ability to maintain technique while exhausted and hurting. That's where top-level preparation wins fights. Watching them trade in the closing minutes felt like witnessing two fighters who had committed to leaving everything in the ring, and who honored that commitment completely. The immediate post-fight scenes told their own story. Embraces, handshakes, tight smiles, trainers whose eyes looked years older. There was a shared acknowledgement that both men had delivered. It was competitive, dramatic, and rich in technical detail. The interviews that followed reflected that truth. Equal parts respect and analysis, because no one wanted to reduce what had just happened to a lazy headline.
Yeah.
Hey, them guys got scared, boy.
Almost immediately, fans and pundits split into camps, arguing over swing rounds, the value of forward pressure versus the elegance of precision, and what the future should look like for both fighters. Some demanded an immediate rematch. Others pushed for blockbuster matchups against entirely different stylistic threats. That kind of debate is exactly what promoters hope for after a close, gripping main event. It keeps the conversation alive and the stakes high. From a technical standpoint, the fight reinforced a few timeless truths about boxing. Timing and distance control remain fight-winning tools. They allow a smaller, more mobile fighter to blunt power and score with low-risk, high-reward shots. On the other side, pressure and sustained bodywork are proven methods for breaking rhythm, limiting movement, and dragging a contest into rougher exchanges where strength and resolve become decisive. Both strategies found real success on this night, and that balance made it impossible to boil the fight down to a single, simple storyline. What was undeniable is that two elite fighters leaned fully into their strengths, while exposing each other's vulnerabilities in equal measure. The judges were left with a difficult task, not because the action was unclear, but because it was layered. Rounds swung, momentum shifted, and both men carved out stretches where they imposed their will. That kind of ambiguity is fertile ground for legend building. When fans can reasonably argue multiple interpretations of who won, it invites replays, debates, and long-term fascination. The boxing community's immediate response reflected that richness. Fellow fighters praised the composure and in-fight adjustments. Trainers zeroed in on tactical shifts and conditioning. Casual viewers were simply grateful to have witnessed a dramatic, high-stakes spectacle. Social media filled with slow-motion replays of the same key exchanges, shared again and again, as if everyone was searching for some hidden truth in the frame-by-frame mechanics of a single moment.
The Teofimo that beat Lomachenko, what if that Teofimo shows up?
Like I said, Lomachenko is a not easy fight. Teofimo was able to be in the ring with different type of fighters and figure it out.
As expected, the hours after the fight were filled with hot takes and bold declarations. But beneath the noise, the prevailing emotion was appreciation. Appreciation for two athletes willing to risk everything in front of a global audience, and for a contest that reminded everyone why boxing, at its best, remains uniquely compelling. In practical terms, this fight will reshape the matchmaking landscape and the wider conversation within the division. A performance this strong, whether viewed as a narrow win or a razor-thin loss, elevates a fighter's market value and negotiating power. A gritty showing from the other side turns him into a highly desirable, must-see opponent for multiple future matchups. Promoters, sanctioning bodies, and broadcasters now have fresh leverage points to work with. Rematch clauses will be revisited. Unification bouts and crossover fights will be floated. The goal will be simple: convert tonight's drama into the next major payday. For fans who care about narrative and stakes, the fight delivered both momentum for one man and a compelling, story-rich path forward for the other. Whatever the record books ultimately say, the optics from this night will carry real weight in the sport's short-term business decisions. Both Shakur and Teofimo offered something rarer than a one-punch knockout or a bloodless tactical shutout. They delivered a fight that asked questions, demanded adaptation, and required genuine courage. Weeks from now, people will still be debating those late-round exchanges and the choices made under pressure. If a single fight can broaden the discussion about what elite boxing looks like in the modern era, this one succeeded. For anyone who truly loves the sport, that's exactly the outcome you hope for.